Tyler Cavalli with KRVN Radio. Well, today we are joined by special guest Valentina Zalevska. She is from Ukraine, from the Lviv area of Ukraine, on the western half of Ukraine. And clearly there is a war now that is happening, a full invasion from Russia into Ukraine. First off, Valentina, she was a foreign exchange student at the University of Nebraska, Kearney back in 2009, and right now is located safely in Berlin, Germany. Valentina, thanks for joining us. How are you doing right now? I know this is a difficult time for you.
Thank you, Tyler, for this question. Yeah, we are not good. Yes, we are not good in the moment, as every Ukrainian in the world feels this same stress and war pressure, because all of our families are there, and we are trying to save Ukraine as much, help Ukraine as possible. So the whole world became for us very different since the war started on the 24th of February.
Valentina, as we mentioned, you are safely currently in Berlin, Germany. You have family still located in Ukraine, and if so, how are they doing? Or if you're able to get in contact with them?
Yes, we are constantly contacting them, and my family is all over Ukraine, but preferably in the western parts. And they are still there, and they are not planning to leave the country. So the family of my husband and me, and my family, my parents, my grandparents, my aunts, my cousins are all there.
In Western Ukraine, what are they seeing in terms of this invasion from Russia? Has it reached that point of where they're located?
Where are they located? In some of the cities, because my family is spread all over from, but mainly in the west, but from the northwest till the southwest. So they, for the first days of war, they started to bomb the infrastructure. So the airport was bombed, and also some gas stations and some war infrastructural warehouses or like objects. So, but it stopped. So now it's kind of safe, but every, I think, 2 or 3 hours they have the air siren. So basically the people need to go to shelters every 2 or 3 hours in the west also. It depends from city of city. When the system works, they got the announcements like with the sound that they need to go to the shelters. So it's not like save life to go to shelters like five times per day, even in the past.
What do these shelters consist of?
There are different kinds of shelters. There are like good structure shelters where, for example, I can compare it because I was living in Kearney, and you have this the shelters for the tornado or something like this, and we were doing this a lot of trainings. So we have this kind of shelters in the schools or something that are very good. Or we had the shelters from the Second World War. They are kind of very, yeah, there's air and you can actually stay there. But most of the people, they go to shelters in their houses if they have ones. But most of them, they were not touched, I mean, for years. So they were not clean. So, and there's terrible conditions to stay there, like for 2 or 3 days, for example.
In the meantime, with your family and everyone else in Ukraine that are going back and forth from the shelters, are they trying to live life as normal as they can? Or are they still going to work? Or what does that look like in the times between going into the shelters?
So basically, there is no, we are in the war status now. It's called the military status of the country. So there is not possible to move freely in the city. At night, the city being patrolled with the special forces, yes, and you cannot like go to your car and move freely from one place to another. All the institutions are closed, like schools, public institutions, everything is closed. The only thing that is working is volunteer centers and the all this war supplies kind of things. The grocery stores are working, and but they are special ones like the supermarkets and some bigger grocery stores. So apart from that, I think yes, yes. I don't know what else is working now. People trying to work online if they can, if they were working online. So they work from the shelters or from their houses. But yeah, apart from that, everything stopped, like all the public life. The public transportation is going partly. It depends. Yeah, but now it's all free, so you don't pay for public transportation. But now, yeah, it's changes, because when you have the air siren, the public transportation stops and everything stops, and everyone needs to go to the shelter.
Today, we're talking to Valentina Zalevska. She is from Lviv, Ukraine, which is on the western half of Ukraine, talking about what she is hearing, understanding with the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. She is safe right now, located in Berlin, Germany. She also attended UNK in Kearney back in 2009. Currently in Lviv, and where your family is located, I understand that you mentioned they're all over Ukraine. Is there full control right now by Russia in those cities? I know you mentioned that they're going in between the shelters, trying to live life as somewhat as normal as possible. It's hard for us to fathom what that is like. But are troops currently taking over those cities?
No, no, no. No, no. I mean, Russian troops are not there, yeah, like at all. They're not in the best. They haven't reached, and I hope they will not reach. They are attacking now from the east of Ukraine, from the south very actively, and from the north. So the west is the only part that is not being
Invaded.
in attack. Yeah, because the western part has a border with the European Union, with Poland, and with Romania, with Hungary and Slovakia. So I mean, this is a NATO zone. So this is only border where there is no invasion from the border.
Ukrainians have vowed to fight and defend their country from the Russian invasion. We're seeing, here in the States and in Nebraska, we're getting a lot of our info from whether it's social media, whether it's from the news media, in different forms. We're seeing a lot of these different kind of stories from these different Ukrainians that have fought and stayed back to fight. What are you hearing? What are you seeing from the Ukrainian side in their effort, in your effort to defend Ukraine?
Like, I'm working in Ukrainian media, so we hear a lot of stories. We collect the stories. Like, basically, it's very powerful to see our people, our nation, and about like I just want to emphasize the all like volunteer movement, and also the willingness to help and to do something. Everybody is working. Everybody is engaged in helping to win basically, and all the men in Ukraine are really ready to fight. So 90% of the Ukrainians, they are ready to go to the army or to be mobilized and just to fight for the country. Many people, like 80,000 people during this week of war, they came back to Ukraine from all over the countries, like from Canada, even from all over the world, to go back to your country and fight in the war. So this is pretty inspiring.
Yeah, like I said, we've been seeing a lot of these inspiring stories from here in America, from really the fight that Ukraine is, again, trying to defend their country from this invasion. You and I were talking before we started this interview about this has been a war with Russia really in the last 8 years. It's not like this just started on February 21st, as you had alluded to, but this has started and kind of been in the works for the last 8 years. Talk about what that's been like.
Yes, we started from the Maidan revolution, and then it all started from that, the war. after the revolution, we kicked out our current presidents and was like having the new election, electing new president, and everything started that Putin didn't want to deal with it because his plan was not to do it, and he invaded Crimea. Russia invaded Crimea, part of our country, did the so-called referendum, and also they invaded eastern part of Ukraine, Donetsk and Luhansk region, and our army, Ukrainian army, was fighting in those parts of Ukraine. It's two very big regions of Ukraine. In the east, which has a border with Russia, and we were losing. We lost, I think, almost 14,000 of our citizens in this war for this 8 years of that were going in these two regions and constantly defending our border.
So this is not a surprise, I assume, then, on this full-scale invasion from Russia when this started officially on February 21st.
Yes, it's not surprise. We were for 8 years already fighting, and our army was preparing, and this full invasion. I mean, the whole world was talking about this because for already, I think, 2 months before February 21st, the Russian troops, 190,000 Russian troops were located in the around Ukraine during these 2 months because they were preparing the invasion. So, and you can see it from the satellite. Yeah, everybody was seeing it from the satellite. This troops on the border and the pictures in the press. So everybody was like, when is this going to happen? Like, which date?
It was only a matter of time at that point.
Yes, I think so. Yes, and yeah, this is very unusual when you have this amount of techniques and soldiers and everything in the border, and then they finally disappear. No, it's not gonna. Yeah, it was really not a surprise.
Right. Valentina, as I alluded to before, with us trying to understand what the war is like, we're seeing this on various ways of social media and online and through the news, but really paint a picture for us. I mean, is it really true? And we're seeing these videos and these photos and reading the stories of right now, a lot of these community areas, a lot of civilians being attacked directly. What are you hearing and understanding? And with you working in the media for Ukraine, from what we're seeing and hearing, is that actually a great picture or a good picture of what actually is happening in Ukraine?
Yes, now there's a lot of human rights, how to say, the Gaga cases here, when they're killing civilians on the streets, they're killing children, they're killing all the families. All the families want to evacuate the cross, and they are just killing them in the car when they're coming out. So of the city, and what they are doing this so-called, I don't know the English word from this. They are taking now. They are trying to take 4 major cities, but they fail. So now they're taking in hostage small cities, ruining their infrastructure. So no gas, no electricity, no telecommunications, and they are not allowing the humanitarian aid in terms of food for the people there in the shelters, and they are like manipulating. So with the mayors of the city and with the head of the region. So now we take a city on hostage, and you will not survive for the next 3 days without electricity and supplies. So they are doing this now. And yes, there's a lot of and what they did during this week, they are shooting especially the hospitals, the children's hospitals, the schools, the kindergartens, and like the spaces where yeah, the children were at the moment, now not, but some houses, yeah, and also they were hitting the yeah, the all kinds of hospitals, yeah, and also telecommunications. Yes, so that is, I mean, and when you see the videos, like I cannot. There's a lot of disinformation is going on, like from the Russian side as well. But I am being reached by my friends that are, sending me videos from their windows when they killing civilians, or like, from all over the country, especially now in Kharkiv and Kiev. So that means I mean, I have the true source of the information. Yeah, if and many of Ukrainians do of this, and we already collecting cases like that, because this is not, and also Putin used the bombs, the vacuum bombs, which are not allowed in any types of like war complex. They are like like, so a lot of things that he does for the first time in this war. For example, in because he had this wars ongoing in Georgia, yes, and in Transnistria, but now he's doing a lot of new stuff, as you say, yeah. So
I know you don't know the answer to this, and this is obviously a very difficult time, but the future overall for Ukraine, for you and what you can understand, what does that look like?
yeah, like for me, I would, yeah, I'm, because I'm like true Ukrainian, with all full blood Ukrainian, and our country is fighting a lot, and we have a very high spirit, and we see really optimistic future. I mean, in the longer term, that we will win and we will rebuild the country and everyone will come back from the refugees. But yeah, it's very optimistic because it's a very hard process to go through, but we don't know what will happen. The only thing we need is to fight now, and we don't know how it will end. So, yeah, but there's no other choice for us. We cannot just give away our country and give away our everything, give away not only territory, but it's everything. It's our lives, culture, and yeah, the whole nation. This is the only thing that we can do, is to fight against it.
Finally, Valentina, what do you want Americans and Nebraskans to know about what's happening and about Ukraine right now?
Yeah, so the only thing that you need to know, that now Ukrainians are winning this war in all the fronts. Like, from my perspective, that is fighting very hard, but we are also fighting not only physically, we are fighting informationally, culturally, and in all the fronts of the war. And I think we became the most powerful now nation in the on the European scale, because every single person is doing something to help, and we have the massive uprising of our people, like with the spirit that 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 everybody knows what to do and how to do, because we are very united. And as you probably also heard, I need you to know that Russia is under full collapse now, and in terms of financially, economically, and also politically. So that's because of the sanctions and because of all work we were doing with our partners in Europe and the whole world that's supporting Ukraine. And so that is the statement why we are winning also on the informational level and on this word level. Yes.
Well, that is Valentina Zalevska, who is joining us from Berlin, Germany. She is a native of Ukraine, from Lviv, Ukraine, which is in the western half of the country, but again, safe in Berlin right now. But your family, your friends still located in Ukraine, they chose not to leave. They are going to stay and fight. Valentina, thank you for your time here today. We wish everything, we hope that you stay safe, your family and your friends stay safe as well.
Thank you.